Good evening. This is Weekdays with Wendy, and I'm reading to you from the Love Your Neighbor, No Exceptions daily calendar. Today's reading is a beautiful quote by Hada Bejar. The fragrance always stays in the hand that gives the rose. I love that. The fragrance always stays in the hand that gives the rose. Now, Hada Bejar was a famous actress from Cuba. She was born in 1931 and she passed away just a few years ago in 2014. In Cuba, when she was born to a devout Roman Catholic family, and she got her first role when she was just a month and a half old, playing baby Jesus in a nativity production. And apparently her parents could see that she had quite the talent, and so they started enrolling her in different plays and shows all throughout her childhood. Well, that acting bug bit her, and that became her career. She would be in many different films. She would be in television and on radio. She was a household name in Cuba. In early 1950, television was gaining a stronghold in Cuba, but it wouldn't be too much later that a revolution would start to take place. And by the end of the 50s, 1959, the revolutionists took over the government and a new communist regime was set in motion. And that place, they took over control over all businesses, including all the media. There was strong censorship over any information that was shared, and there would be terrible persecution, especially against Catholics. Well, Hada knew that she and her husband, she had married the love of her life, and they had 2 sons. They knew they couldn't remain there. Hada had always prided herself on a certain image. She always made sure that her faith would shine through her acting, and she could no longer remain where her faith was being persecuted. But she had friends throughout the acting world, and there were people in Mexico who knew of her situation. And so they offered her a formal acting job on a movie that was based on a book by a famous Cuban author. And so she was allowed to go to Mexico, and after filming was finished, they helped her enter into the United States, where she and all of her family were granted political asylum. Now there in the United States, she had moved to Miami, and she would have to start her career over from scratch. But she finally made it into films again and on television, but she had to be resourceful. And so she started writing, and many of her articles were published in magazines, and she wrote scripts that were produced for television in Miami, in Mexico, in Puerto Rico. She still was working so hard. She was creative, and they made a new life here in the United States. After she retired from acting, she took a job with Catholic radio, where she would share stories about famous saints and talk about their love of God and their service to humanity. And she would do that till the day that she passed away. She lived this incredible life and was able to avoid the strict persecution in Cuba by escaping to the United States with the help of friends. Hada was someone who understood what it meant to give to others. But as she was giving to others, she herself was also blessed by the way she treated people. And they helped her in her deepest moment of need. It's probably not surprising that she could write and believe the quote, "The fragrance always stays in the hand that gives the rose." When we reach out and are kind and loving to others, our lives are blessed as well. I hope you have a great evening.